Hello students, welcome to your tutorial for Minuet. I'm going to start by playing the song through and then I'll make the music a little bit bigger so that we can go through it line by line. And here we are. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. All right, so let's zoom in just a bit and take a look at the first line. All right, now of course you should have your music with you if it's a little hard to see on my screen, but we're going to start with a tapping to get the rhythms down. This song is in 3/4. We stretch up to the B above treble G, C above treble G, and we do go all the way down the bass staff, including a jump to the C below the staff at the very end. You'll see at the very end there. So there are new notes to become familiar with throughout this song. Some of that can be helped along by using the fingering that's written in and recognizing your distances, your steps, your skips. But it is also a time to just become familiar with a couple new notes here and there. And if your teacher recommends it, you might write in a symbol or letter here or there. It all depends on whether there are a lot of notes that you have not yet learned or just one or two. So if you do end up needing to write in one or two letter names, that can be okay. All right, so let's start with the hand tapping. On the first line, what we're going to do is we're going to just get a sense for how our two left hand and right hand lines connect together rhythmically. All right, so I'm going to count my ands because we have eighth notes throughout. 1 and 2 and 3 and together and 2 and 3 and right and right and right together and 2 and 3 and together and right and right and. All right, so that's how it feels to tap our hands for the first line. The left hand, as you can see, is tied. Then we have a dotted half note, dotted half note. So the right hand is doing most of the moving. So let's take a look at our right hand, and just out of time, we're going to go through the notes that we have. We have treble G, and that's going to be our fifth finger. And our hand will stay in position while we play the C, D, E, F, G, back to the C. But this is where we first move. We move our fifth finger up to the A, and then our thumb accordions in. See how my hand is squeezing in to grab the F. Now, why would we do that? We do that because we need to then reposition our hand to play the G, the A, the B, and the C again before leaping down to play middle C one more time. Okay, so there is definitely some repositioning of your hand in this line. So let's now speak the rhythm in time. 1 and 2 and 3 and G and C, D, E, F, G, C, C, A, F, G, A, B, C, C, C. Okay, great. Now sometimes I will ask that you do a hand orientation, meaning you get your hand in position and you get really comfortable with remembering which finger is in charge of which note. But in this song, because there's so much movement, we're better off just practicing the gestures as we go, practicing the transitions, and doing our very best to keep our eyes up on the page whenever possible. All right, so now we're going to play the right hand first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and G and C, D, E, F, G, C, C, up to A, F, G, A, B, C, C, C. All right, very good. Okay, so now you should practice that many, many, many times before adding anything to it. With all of the independence we're going to need in this song, we are not only moving in and out of hand positions, we have movement in our right hand that is contrary to the movement in our left hand. Our hands play different rhythms in the same measure from one another. There's so much independence going on that it's really vital that you build that muscle memory in your hand so that your mind can split between what your right hand's doing and what your left hand is doing. Okay, so that's why those repetitions are so important. Now let's look at the left hand. So our left hand on the first line starts on an E, and we're going to hold that, then go one step up to F, and then back down to E again. Okay, so hopefully these notes are familiar to you, the E, the F, and the E. Let's play that through together. 1, 2, and 3, and E. 2, and 3, and hold. 2, and 3, and F. 2, and 3, and E. 2, and 3, and. Okay, so I'm going to now pull the tempo back even farther because we're about to put these hands together. So I'm going to play both hands. You can play your right hand along with me, or your left, or you can play both if you've done your repetitions. 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3. Move. 1, and 2, and 3, and 3, and 5, and 3, and. All right, so I think it is helpful to notice which fingers play simultaneously. So we start the song with 3 and 5. When we get to the third measure, we're playing 2 and 5, and your fifth finger has just moved. And then at the final measure, we're playing 3 and 5 with your hand having moved again. But 3 and 5, 2 and 5, 3 and 5. All right, one more time all the way through that line. 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and moving 2 and 5, and 2, and 3, 3 and 5, and jumping down. That's it. All right, very good. Now we're going to go to the second line, and our hand position starts right where we were before. We've got our fourth finger on F, which means our fifth finger is on G. Let's do a tap first, okay? So we're going to tap the second line. All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and together and 2 and 3 and together and 2 and 3 and right and right and 3 and. All right, those ties in the left hand are going to be worth digging into a little bit. All right, so our right hand, let's go out of time and make sure all these notes and crosses and movements make sense to us. We've got our fourth finger on F, and then we're going to go up to the G, the F, down to E, down to D, up to E, up to F, down to E, down to D, down to C. Oh, here's our first cross on this line, down to the note below middle C, which is a B. Now, this is not a repositioning moment. This is just a crossover and tuck right back under moment. And then 3 down to D. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Just one crossover tuck under. Let's speak the notes on the second line, right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and F and G, F, E, D, E, F, E, D, C, B, C, D, E, C, E, D, hold. All right, let's play it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and here comes the cross and 3 and. All right, let's look at the left hand. Remember, repeat, repeat, repeat before you join me with the left hand. All right, left hand, we are in the same position we started in. Fourth finger is on D. Then we will go down a step. Fifth finger on C. And then we will go up to where our thumb is naturally resting a fifth above on the G. And then when it comes to it, we'll walk back down. F, E, D. So let's speak that in time, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and D and 2 and 3 and C and 2 and 3 and G and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 F, E, D. All right, so that note, that G is the 3 beats plus another 1.5 beats, okay? So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 for that G. All right, let's play the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. All right, let's put them together. I'm going to pull back the tempo even more. 1, and we start with 4 and 4. Actually, let's go through those quickly. So our first 2 simultaneous notes are 4 and 4. On the second measure, it's 5 and 3. Remember, I call out the left-hand note first. 1 and 2 starts the third measure, and then there are no more notes that are pressed at the same time because of our ties. All right, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first two lines again. So you have something that you can play along with, but you don't have to play both hands. You can play whichever hand you're ready to. From the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 5 and moving up 2 and 5, thumb, 3 and 5, 4 and 4, and 5 and 3, 1 and 2. There we go. All right, third line. So here's something fun. The right hand exactly the same as the first line. But if you can tell, the left hand is starting to get more complicated. This might be a place in some classes where a teacher might make some executive decisions about the arrangement in the left hand, but we're gonna just address what is on the page. So our left hand is still in the same position. Third finger is on E. We'll be going down to a D, all the way down to a C, then up a third, back to the E, down a third, back to the C, up a fourth to the second finger on F, then down a step to the E, up a step to the F, E, D, C. All right, so the movements themselves are very manageable. It's mostly a matter of them moving while your right hand is so busy playing its part, right? So again, this is why we need a lot of hand separate work. So let's call out the names in the left hand and then we'll play them. 1 and 2 and 3 and E and 2 and D and C, E, C, F and 2 and 3 and E, F, E, D, C. All right, let's play it. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and E and 2 and D and C and E, C and F and 2 and 3 and E and F, E, D, C. All right, you know what's next. Hands together, nice and slow after your repetitions. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 3 and 5 and 5. 1 and 3 and 1, 5 and 1. 2 and 5. 3 and 5. 2 and 1, 4 and 1. All right, I need to give that to you again. I was stumbling a little bit over those numbers. Let me see if I can do that again on our next run through. 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 5. 1, 2, 4 and 3, 5 and 5. 3 and 1, 5 and 1. 2 and 5. 3 and 5, 2 and 1, 4 and 1. Okay, all right. I think I'll do it one more time without the calling out so you can just hear the music. 1, 2, 3, and is we have staccatos in the right hand, but not in the left hand, and that can take some time. This might be your instinct, but what's written, right, is a little bit different. So that'll take a little bit of time to get your slurs, to get your staccatos, and your teacher will definitely guide you with that. All right, so now let's look at the final line of the song. So we have just landed with our thumb on C, so we're right where we need to be. And we're gonna play an F, a G, F, E, D, E, F, E, D, C, D. All right, that's where our third finger is gonna climb onto that D so that we have enough fingers to finish the song. So there is one hand movement there. Let's call out the names. 1 and 2 and 3 and F and G, F, E, D, E, F, E, D, C, move D, E, D, C, B, C, 2, 3. All right, now we're gonna play it. 1 and just remember, being able to speak it is just as important because that means you know these keys whether or not you're following a finger number, whether or not you can recognize the interval. We want to make sure you also just know which notes they are as best you can. 1 and 2 and 3 and F and left hand, same position. So we're gonna play our fourth finger on D, then down to C, skipping up to E, stepping up to F, stepping up to G, and then a big leap all the way down to the low G. Then thumb goes to C, and down another octave. So just notice what we're doing here is we're playing G octaves, C octaves. Once you know that, G octaves, C octaves. It still takes practice, but it's not quite as confusing in terms of reading. All right, so we're going to count, or we're going to speak the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and D and 2 and 3 and C and 2 and E and F and G, G, C for 2, C. Let's play it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 2. All right, pull back the tempo a little bit. Let's try them together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 and 3, 3 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, 5 and 2, 1 and 2. All right, once more without me calling out. 1 and 2 and 3 and and 2 right, so I think I'll play the entire song one more time on the full piano. There's kind of a range, I think, of appropriate tempo markings, so I'm just going to pick a moderate tempo for this. One and, let's see, 1 and 2 and 3 and... All right, there you go. Have fun.